I really had an obsession with being cool for people and having people like me. And when they whipped out the pipe in the bag and said, "Have you ever done this?" I was like, "Sure, I do it all the time."
If I was in school, I would smoke during lunch in the bathrooms, right outside. It didn't really matter wherever I could find a place to smoke, I would.
I've gotten kids that were about 12 started on drugs just because they were there and they wanted to do it. And now some of them love it and they're always doing it.
The only way you can prevent your child from getting involved in drugs is to be open with them, to talk to them, to warn them, but then to keep talking to them to find out where they are, what's happening, how are they feeling, what's going on in their life, what's going on in their school, what's going on with their friends. You have to be aware of everything that's going on in your child's life.
After years of decline, marijuana use among teenagers is on the rise, and starting at a younger age. We all need to tell our kids about the dangers of smoking pot. Do we parents really understand how dangerous marijuana use is? Listen to what some of us are saying.
I can't imagine my daughter or my son smoking, drinking, doing drugs.
I can't imagine that any of them do, and yet I know that there's a chance that some may.
Today's teenagers are less and less concerned with the risks of marijuana use. Many feel that everybody's doing it. Listen to what some of our kids are saying.
Everybody does it. It's fun. They won't stop you. They can't. They'll somehow get around it.
If everybody else is doing it, you're probably going to want to too, because you don't want to feel stupid, like you're the only one not doing it.
The good is just being laid back. You ain't got no problems, no worries or nothing.
I was curious. Everybody's curious now. And so I tried it. That was my first time I tried it.
Statistics show that most teenagers are not using marijuana on a regular basis.
I don't think it's cool at all, and I don't see why they try and pressure it onto any other people that know it's wrong and know the side effects of it.
Marijuana usually is like introduction drugs to worse drugs, and it gets you hooked on those other drugs.
But the number of curious teens who are just trying it is increasing. Teenagers need to know that there are consequences for what they're doing. "20 years of scientific research have taught us a tremendous amount about this drug. Here are the facts. Marijuana damages short-term memory, distorts perception, impairs judgment, and interferes with complex motor skills. Heavy, chronic use of marijuana is correlated with higher levels of truancy, fighting, delinquency, and arrest. An amotivational syndrome has been reported in heavy, chronic marijuana users, characterized by decreased drive and ambition. Daily use of 1 to 3 joints appears to produce the same lung diseases and potential cancer risk as smoking 5 times as many cigarettes. THC, the active chemical in marijuana, binds to specific areas of the human brain. The hippocampus, involved with memory and thinking. Memory is essential for learning in school. Some of the basal ganglia, affecting physical movement, mood, attention, and thought processes, critical in a teenager's development. The cerebellum, involved with posture, balance, and coordination, important for driving a car and playing sports. Marijuana also affects the cerebral cortex, where it influences one's mood and ability to think, essential for problem solving and general well-being.
I changed a lot, just the way my brain worked. Even the people I was using with started telling me to stop. They would call me a burnout. And I thought it was funny at the time. But then when I would sit down, and especially with math, I have a lot of problems. When I would sit down and try and figure something out, it was like my brain just stopped working.
You need your short-term memory to do an equation. You need your short-term memory to learn a word, learn a language, think, learn history.
And if you don't have that short-term memory, if you've disabled it even temporarily, you can't retain the information that you're learning in school.
Well, pretty much my grades were always bad, but it got worse. I failed a bunch of grades. I had to repeat, lost a lot of credits. I used to be real athletic. Used to play a lot of tennis, a lot of basketball. When I started using drugs, I just stopped playing altogether, because I thought I had more important things to do.
Marijuana and driving do not mix. Marijuana alters your perception of speed and time and impairs the motor skills you need to drive. Reaction times are slowed, and concentrating on details becomes more difficult. Marijuana is often a factor in automobile accidents. Beyond the dangers of the drug itself are the risks of getting high in a society where violence is a part of the drug culture.
I fear with the use of marijuana for children is the lifestyle that comes with it, with the people that you associate with.
The world that our kids live in is a very different world from the world we lived in when we were teenagers, and I think it's terribly important for parents to understand that.
Sample last night, it's really good, Good stuff, huh? Yeah.
There are guns out there in a way that there didn't ever used to be done. There are drugs out there. It's a scary world out there, and I think it's just critical for parents to set limits with that kind of world out there in mind.
With the spread of AIDS, teens who get high and are sexually active also put their lives at risk.
I feel that when you get high, you just want to go to sleep, relax. You can, do anything. If you have a girlfriend, you might get a little crazy and do something. I'm serious. That's what happens.
I've hurt people, ripped off people, lied to everybody. I even ended up sleeping with people I would never even think about just because I was high.
During the 1960s, when many of us were coming of age, marijuana use was widespread, even glorified. Those who experimented with the drug often feel hypocritical telling their kids not to try it. Their parents perceive it as being relatively harmless, more of a soft drug.
I experimented for years, and I'm okay.
We know that it's hard for some parents to talk to their kids about drugs, particularly if they may have experimented while they were young. But they still have to tell their kids about the dangers of drug use, particularly marijuana use, and tell their kids it's the wrong thing to do.
Telling our kids not to smoke marijuana is particularly important today, considering the many mixed messages about drug use in our culture. In recent years, products made out of hemp have become popular among young people, and news reports reveal that some music groups advocate getting high.
The fact that marijuana is illegal doesn't seem to save most of the people who use it, sell it, or advocate it.
Weed is everywhere. I've been smoking since I was a shorty.
It is so much a part of the popular culture that street names for the drug are interwoven with the personas and the music of rap stars.
I think this culture is really mixed up when it comes to what they say to kids about drugs, because I know that they'll tell you what it does to your body, but at the same time they won't sit down and talk to you about it like it's something real.
I don't see any reason to discuss it.
Really?
No, I don't. Why? Like I said, they walk the straight and narrow, they're good kids, they get good grades in school. I worry that if they knew that I did it, they'd say, oh, well, Mom did it, well, why shouldn't I?
I know so many parents, if you sat down and asked them, have you ever gotten high, they'd say, no, I wouldn't do that and everything like that. And no one could answer the questions that I had about it. I was always looking for an escape. And in movies and music, they talk about how good it feels and how it just sets you free. So that's all I knew about it, because no one would talk to me about the imprisonment and how you're totally captivated by this drug.
The society we allow to exist is telling kids to use anyway. We're telling them that's normative behavior. That's why I hate
when parents say, what's wrong with kids as far as alcohol or their drug use, I say nothing. Kids are just doing what they're being told. The question would be, what's wrong with us for letting this exist?
Today's culture is really scared to talk about what's important, and they just talk about how much money it wastes or what it does to your lungs or whatever, and no one cares about that really wants to get high.
As parents, we face many challenges raising our kids and keeping them away from drugs. That's why it's so important to make time to spend with them.
My wife and I both work. I leave at 4:30 in the morning, don't get home sometimes till 7, and she leaves at 6 and doesn't get home till 5:30, so she spends a lot of time with her friends, and I'm sure they're having more and more of an influence.
A lot of times there was this friend's house that we would all go to, you know, the one person whose parents didn't care, and we got high there a lot.
An awful lot of parents tend to think that when a child reaches age 12 or 13, they're adults, and they can behave as adults, and they don't need the kind of supervision that your parents gave you and mine gave me. I've come to believe over the years that children need their parents more throughout adolescence than they do when they're little kids.
Spending time with our kids gives us the chance to get more involved in their lives, to supervise their activities, to know the parents of their friends. It also gives us the chance to maintain an open and honest dialogue with them about marijuana. That means listening as well as talking.
There's definitely a dialogue going on, and I'm hopeful that because there is a dialogue, when something happens, if something happens, if there's experimentation, I'm going to have a clue that I'm going to know and be able to respond.
And so today we see literally thousands of kids, they've missed their youth. They've gone from infancy to whatever it is. I wouldn't even call it adulthood. This screwed up world we live in, where a pair of tennis shoes is worth your life. The starter jacket is worth your life. Smoking a blunt, doing marijuana, you know, and it's not because there's something genetically defective with kids today. Where are we, parents?
Just remember, once we parents understand the dangers of marijuana use, we can make our kids understand what's at stake. We need to send clear and consistent messages to our kids. Drug use is dangerous, unhealthy, illegal, and wrong. It's a big challenge, but for our children, we must succeed.